I use gold for my opportunity positioning as well as wealth preservation. You need both, but they both have different functions. And you have to really ask yourself, what do you want to be holding into a currency reset? For me, it is the mostly. I have both. I want both. You need both. But you need this to sustain your standard of living. You need this to grow your wealth base and to protect all of those fiat dollars that you might not be able to move out of your 401k or out of your IRA or your 403b or your pension plan. And I hope you are not counting on those instruments to see you through this, because anything that you can only convert into, in this country, dollars, well, last time I checked, 1 trillion times 0 is 0. If the dollar has no purchasing power, just like the bolivars, they have no purchasing power. You can have a gazillion of them, and it's not going to matter. So let me use another really well-known example to show you what I'm talking about with that gold and silver ratio. And Weimar Germany is not the worst case of hyperinflation, but it is the most well-known. And you can see that the gold and silver ratio, even though there were times when it went up, it pretty much stayed even until the real reset was occurring. And then there was a huge jump and a huge difference between the two. So if you're sitting in gold and silver, I really say, yay, thank goodness. But I would personally, you got to do what you're comfortable with. But personally, I own more gold than I do silver, because silver is about sustaining my standard of living. Gold is about protecting the wealth I have and being in a position to take advantage of the opportunities that lie ahead of us. And just as another example, because we all know that food becomes the biggest issue for people during these transitions. And even if you stop and think about what happened in March of last year, a year ago, when all the grocery store shelves went bare, well, toilet paper is also a really important thing to have on hand. And as you probably saw, you can also barter with that. But the difference between silver and, say, toilet paper or berries or any kind of food stuff is that food stuff has a shelf life, whereas silver does not have a shelf life. I mean, I don't know how old this is, but, I picked this up at a yard sale God knows how many years ago. Probably for nothing, to be perfectly honest with you, because who wants to polish silver? Well, I don't have a problem with that, so I was happy to buy it. But I do want you to keep in mind, even when you look, can we go back to that slide? If you look at the German mark, at one point, these were all 5 marks: the bill, the silver coin, and the gold mark. But that gold-silver ratio maintains until it doesn't. Just like the stock markets stay up until they don't. So I really wanted to clarify that. That's part of the strategy. I mean, I've studied currency life cycles since 1987. And what is it that we always talk about on this channel? And if you're new to it, you'll get familiar with it as well. There are repeatable patterns that happen every time. So I cannot guarantee tomorrow, because that's way beyond my control. But if something has happened over 4,800 times and we're doing the same things, I'm thinking we're gonna get the same results. So you need both. You need silver for barterability and to sustain your current standard of living. You need gold to protect any wealth, and I mean and your property taxes, which is a big risk. To pay off your mortgage is another big risk. So it's about functionality. So if you talk to your consultant, then you're going to fill out and you're going to talk about your goals, what you have to work with, and where you're at right now. And then you will create a strategy based on gold and silver and as a wealth shield. And you'll know, how much silver do I need to sustain my current standard of living through this reset? And how much gold do I need to do that? Because of course, if you got a significant chronic health issue, then you need to make sure that those expenses are covered and that you can get the medications and the different things that you need. But also to put you in a position to take advantage of these opportunities that present. And what I mean by that, for those that aren't familiar with it, right now, these are the only two assets that are undervalued. Everything else, stocks, bonds, real estate, all of that, severely overvalued. That will change. That will change. Right now, you've got gold and silver here. You've got those other assets here. This will flip-flop. Then your gold is what you're going to use to convert into these other assets and income-producing assets when they are undervalued. I would not be selling my gold to buy silver. And frankly, nor am I selling my silver to buy gold. You need both, but it is the gold against which they reset the currency. So that's why that is one big reason anyway, why that is the lion's share of my personal portfolio. And I think it needs to be the lion's share of yours as well. I remember being at my uncle's house one day with my parents, and he said, "Come here, I want to show you something." And we went in a back bedroom, and in there he had two tall floor safes. And inside of those floor safes, when he opened them up, he said, "If anything should happen to me, Aunt Bertie will be well taken care of for the rest of her life because of what's in these safes." Now, I was 10, but still, I turned around to see what it was, and they were packed with pre-33 1-ounce gold coins. I don't think you could have fit another coin in there. And that is so significant. And yeah, it has definitely influenced me, no doubt about it. I mean, that was just one of the things I learned from this very brilliant man. But what he did was he accumulated a tremendous amount of gold, probably at least 3,000 ounces would be my guess, maybe 3 monster boxes in each safe, when it was illegal to hold more than 5 ounces. That's pretty significant.